Is mental health crippling in the workplace? Or is mental health overused in the workplace? Obviously, by technology and by all sorts of different stimulus, we've never experienced quite the amount of stimulus and exposure to all different things in the world. And that's almost like the dark side compared to like the bright side of all of the connection that we have. You know, we can call someone in a different country and talk to them so fast, so easily, and with such clarity. It's amazing. We're more interconnected than ever, but we're more exposed than ever to, the dark side of humanity. So over the last so many years, mental health has been this ongoing topic of discussion, and so many great breakthroughs have been made in consciousness, awareness, things of that nature. But does it come to a point where, and I'm going to use the application to business, does it come to a point where mental health and that like overuse of, oh, I need to preserve my mental health, does that come to a point where it's almost disadvantageous to talk about it? And disadvantageous, like, is it being used as a crutch and how to tell the difference, right? I don't want to negate anything about mental health and awareness, especially in the business landscape, because I think it provides a lot of people support. And I think it's something that needs to be focused in on. And I guess why I'm talking about this is because I had a triggered event. That's another word, too, triggered. A triggered event happened today at my work environment in a professional or lack thereof setting. One team member was trying to solve a problem, but we also deal with a team member that is been, older generation, been in the business a long time, comes from a different way of dealing and communicating with, like to yell and scream until they feel better and then kind of walk off and not solve anything. So I've been around both team members for quite a while. Let's call team member A. Team member A has just type A personality, been in harsh environments and business settings, dog eat dog world, and is used to and accustomed to yelling and screaming to get what they need to get set across. From an outside perspective, team member A is just irrational, hard to work with, whatever. And it's so funny though, because this person brings in a significant amount of revenue. Whereas team member B, works, yeah, is very good at what they do. Problem solver, wants to fine tune the system, things of that nature, isn't a main revenue driver, doesn't provide the necessary revenue, but just it wants to do a good job. And I don't know, maybe from too much meditation, I've had to work with both of these team members for a while, and they got into it today. They got into a screaming match in front of everybody. And it's like, you look at that and you could tell other people were disturbed by it. I tried to control it to the best of my ability. When it was far beyond my control, I say, okay, just go in another room and not expose everybody to your bogusness. Um, and I had to raise my voice to do that. And school doesn't prepare you for those kind of situations, right? You just kind of have to be assertive in an emotionally stable way, and do the best that you can with what's given to you. It's very easy to pick on team member A, right? Because it's like they're not controlling their emotions, they're letting it get out, they're causing a scene, they're not, they're causing chaos to everybody else, and it's just not right, And I get that. I agree. But it's also like, do we judge those people too? Are there people like that need to, I don't know, vent a certain way? Like everybody's different, right? It's very easy to look at team member A and go, they're bad. They're wrong. They did this. They're causing my mental health to be uh, less than theirs. They're toxic. All these words. And maybe this person is. This person probably is. But this person brings in a lot of revenue and a lot is put up with for that person, but she doesn't make people feel good. She makes people feel not good. Um, I don't know. I've been dealing with it for a long time and it's not healthy, it's not productive, and you put up with it, and it's easy to say this person's bad, but I'm going to take the opposite approach. Like, what if this person just needs to vent like this and that's how they do it? And they don't really mean malicious intent. Um, I don't know. I think that could be a situation. Do we need to have people like this in our lives? Um, I don't know. I don't know if we need to subject ourselves all the time to that, but it gets me thinking, like, okay, this for sure isn't correct. It's for sure not politically correct. It's for sure not professional. But do we need to judge that? And this, I guess, is the awareness part. Do I need to place judgment on this person because they don't adhere to what our society now deems as what is acceptable? Does this person not also have a voice to speak too? Because here's what happens. Like, if you put this person in a mixture with crowds that are more politically correct, more want everyone to speak, this and that, more problem solving, this person shuts down. And this person actually has good ideas, good initiative, good thoughts. um I don't know. It's an interesting situation. It's almost like in life, don't be fooled to think that everything is going to be hunky dory, that everything is going to be rosy, that, and if it's not, if it's like a little bit of, oh, I don't like this because somebody's mean to me, or I don't like this because, somebody's hurting me, somebody's putting me down. I don't think that gives us an excuse to just run away. That's what I'm more so getting at. That doesn't, just because someone screams at you or yells at you or whatever, doesn't give you an excuse to just label them, run away from them, judge them, and demean all of their value that they've given you because of an instance, because they were whatever. And I think that this viewpoint is the real what mental health means, right? This is really what mental health is about. Not this, oh, you're hurting my mental health. This isn't good for my mental health. I need to walk away. I think that's a crutch. I think that term has good intentions, but it also becomes a crutch. And I see it used in the business sense, specifically between cross-generational communication, meaning people from a different era with a different way of doing things talking to people from a different generation and a much different way of doing things. I think the only reason I can relate is because I deal with people from an older generation quite a lot, and I know how they think, I know how they react, I know their mentality, and I'm more empathetic to what they're trying to accomplish. And of course, being a little bit younger. Well, I'm not that young anymore. Let's be honest. I'm not that young anymore, but being from a more youth orientated generation where it's more empathy, more understanding, mental health and awareness is everywhere. I don't know. I think it's like a spectrum. I think everything is a spectrum. You're either over here, you're over there, you're in the middle. Does it make it right for us to label type that person A that they're bad? I don't think so. I think there's still a value. Does that mean you have to subject yourself towards yelling and screaming every day? No. But I think it's not a bad thing if you know what that is. Let me clarify. I don't think it's a bad thing if you know what yelling and screaming is. Because guess what? A lot of people, unfortunately, provide feedback that way and are accustomed to doing things that way. It's sad, but it's a way of becoming exposed to, dare I say, confrontation. And some confrontations are more unhealthy than others. Some confrontations are more severe than others. Um, Not everything's going to be hunky dory. And you should, in business or any real sense of life, you should, regardless of how the other person is acting, you should be able to have enough awareness in yourself to listen, to circumnavigate, to identify some positivity in the situation, to something you can draw from it, right? What positive outcome can I draw from this? Can I harp and say, oh, yeah, I had a crappy day because I tried to control a crappy situation? Yeah, I could, but there's some positives to be had too. Like trying to empathize, even in a confrontational situation, I think is a gift. And it doesn't mean that you should subject yourself to just what I call brain damage. No, no. You shouldn't subject yourself to that. But to be aware of it and to understand it and to understand what the person is going through, I think is an okay thing. I think that's an okay thing. And the more that you can do that, and the more you practice that muscle, the better you're going to become in business, the better you're going to become in interpersonal relationships. Because guess what? Business is just people dealing with people and exchanging money. And guess what? When that happens, it gets pretty thick. It gets pretty thick because humans are controlled a lot by their emotions and not by their rational reasoning. So when we have situations like this, I think it's important to understand what's going on. And I wanted to bring this topic up and really just kind of get into, is mental health in those terminologies being used as a crutch? I think their inherent intent behind them is admirable, and it comes from a place of positivity, and it comes from a place of, um, like productive outcome, like productive, you know, um, productive place, like an intent to do good. But that same word, mental health, awareness, whatever, triggered, drama, those same words can portray different meanings to different people at different times. And I think being able to identify with that, like mental health to one person doesn't mean that to the next person. And empathy and positivity is still the ultimate way. Now, you will be exposed to people that don't share those same viewpoints. And I guess, how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with that in a business contextualization? Do you run home and cry and just give up? A lot of people maybe would, but you don't necessarily have to. And know that in life, confrontation is going to happen. In this business setting, this is person A, person B got into it. How do we know what to do? How do we know what to do? So overall, I'm going to say, don't subject yourself to stuff that doesn't put you in a positive place. That's for sure. Not for an extended period of time. That's for sure. But don't also, in the same catch, don't also, you know, just use the terminology of mental safe space and mental health as a crutch. Be aware of what's happening, and embrace positive confrontation. Confrontation, just by the word, to me, has a denotation and contextual meaning of negative. There's negativity, like non-productive negative activity. That's kind of what confrontation is. But there could be healthy collaboration. I think there needs to be a inherent understanding of, I'm going to experience confrontation in my life, both in a business setting and in a interpersonal setting. I'm going to experience that in my life. Just because I experience it doesn't mean I should label it as bad. It just is. I could choose to be around it less, for sure, but I'm not going to label it as bad. Didn't have a bad day. I'm going to label it as, oh, this happened. What can I take away from this? So, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. It's an interesting topic. That's it.